Because I'm doing those reels, right? I'm trying to get the reels back up. It's the first of the year. Promised people we'd have some reels.
Yep. Some New Year's resolutions.
Come on. And they're kind of spicy. So here's my question for you, Riley. If I end up dead, one, it wasn't me. I didn't do it. I don't care what the note says. I didn't.
Okay.
Do it. Two, would you call it quits, or would you go up in arms and if we thought it was an entity, an organization took me out?
This is a deep question. I think Kent and I would fight the good fight.
You think so?
Yeah. I think we could tough it out.
All right.
I'm not as outspoken as you, but what about me? If I get taken out by some sort of nefarious group,
I don't know. Who? I don't think any group would do that. I mean, Austin Freric's still alive, and he's blowing smoke and steam all over the place.
I guess so. We're popular. We're not that popular.
Yeah. No, we're not that big of a podcast. I don't think that many people care about what we have to say. But all right, Kent's not here with us, so we'll just go ahead and get started. Coffee Time Wednesdays with the Prairie Farm Podcast.
Kent, hit us with the jingle.
Welcome back to the Prairie Farm Podcast, Coffee Time Wednesday. I'm your favorite host, Nicolas Lirio, with your favorite co-host, Riley Rosendahl.
Yep. I'm officially taking Kent's place. Sorry, Kent. You've been booted.
You have been booted. You will have to buy your way back onto being a co-host. We are now selling co-host to co-host spots on the pod. Microphone not included. But we'll give you a shout out. Man, we're having a lot of fun. We have an intern here from a local high school hanging out with us this week. He's been a lot of fun. We just got back from our New Year's resolution. I've broken mine about cake. I wasn't going to do any cake. How are you doing with you do any resolutions?
Not anything major. I always break like that. I'm not gonna eat something. Whether it be ice cream or cake. That takes about like 3 hours usually. It's one of those things where I usually have it in my house, and that usually ends that. So
man, I was talking, and I've been thinking about goals. Goals are serious deal for me, like in terms of like, what do I want this year to be about? And I always spend time thinking about it before, and it's taken me a while. I think I've got them like kind of honed in. I was talking to my wife, and I was like, hey, I'd love if we did some goals together, not necessarily the same goals, but if you had goals and I had goals and we wrote them up and we looked at them together and held each other accountable. And she was like, oh, okay, well. And then she just listed off like 50 things she wanted to do this year. I was like, whoa, hey, whoa, hold it. You need to think like, which ones do you think you can actually get done? And she was after it. So
that's admirable. Good for her.
I think mine, I don't know for sure. I'll come back to y'all, let you know what I actually decided. But I want to run a full marathon this year. But besides that, I think my goals aren't like achievement oriented. Like I got a thing done. I think I want more to be like, I want to have done a small task daily or weekly.
Yeah. I think the ones that stuck out to me were more aligned with like a larger goal, right? It's a piece of a larger puzzle. It can't really be defined like, oh, well, this year I'm going to lose 25 pounds,
Yeah.
Or whatever your boilerplate resolution is.
Yeah. The whole losing weight thing, it's just not. Very few people have a strong enough internal world to lose weight because they want to be skinnier. That's like tough to do. You have to lose weight because you want to be healthier for like an end goal, and something inside of you has to change because, as we know, what's inside of you replicates itself outside of you.
Sure.
So take a look at how messy your car and your room and your relationships and your finances are. That's what's going on inside of you. Hate to be the bearer of bad news for any of you guys.
Getting heavy here in the new year.
Riley's
starting
got
2026 off with a bang.
More exciting stuff for us, and I told him that I promised his face would be on a reel.
Oh, yeah, that's true. There's no pressure. I've got to say something good enough to make a reel in the next, 30-odd minutes. We'll see.
I believe in you.
So what I brought this week was a couple different articles, but the one that stuck out to me was one from Iowa Farmer Today. Their January 3rd edition, if you're a subscriber. It's entitled Bright Future. Tight cattle supply should support prices in 2025. It's an article by Benjamin Harold. Now, the flip side of this is if you are at the grocery store, this title reads Dismal Future, High Prices at the Grocery Store. But I was just kind of reading, it's talking about some of the supply factors and retention of animals that leads to higher prices.
Yeah. Why am I? Well, one, beef has still, I bought ground beef last night and I bought pretty good ground beef. It was 85%.
Yeah.
And it was still cheaper for a pound of that than a pound of Oreos. So, but if we are to believe that beef's going to get more expensive, it was pretty close. It was a pretty close price. So, well, why am I paying almost as much for ground beef as I am for Oreos?
Well, the trouble is that with beef, it seems to be the perfect storm. Everybody's looking for that one kind of thing that we can whack that and take that out and then beef prices are going to go down. But the fact is that the beef cattle herd in the United States, the number of cows that there are in the United States, is the lowest it's been since, I believe the article said, 1951.
Really?
So that's a part of it. Our supply here in the States is small. Now, the thing a lot of people will say is, well, the numbers of cattle are lower, but our cows are bigger. So, the net product is still fine. But regardless, the number of cows in the country is low. I mean, it's just very, very low, whether they're big or they're small.
Do you know what percentage of the cattle population gets harvested every year?
I don't know that.
I wonder, how many cows does it take to, you know what I mean?
The USDA runs numbers on slaughter. They actually track how many beef go to slaughter per year. So you can get. That's where a lot of the day traders and stuff can base all their information on. Seeing what slaughter numbers were for a month and guessing what supply might look like. Things like
I'm
that.
just imagining going to your kids' school to tell everybody what you do for a living. You're like, I'm a beef day trader. I day trade stocks on beef.
yeah. A lot of guys do it. Amongst other things, but
so perfect storm. What else is going on?
There was a lot of Mexico was banned from importing cattle into the United States due to New World screwworm, which is a parasite that we really, really, really don't want in the domestic beef herd.
Interesting.
I'm not an expert on the screwworm, but I know that it blocked.
Do you know who's allowed to make that decision?
I think USDA does. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, because part of their mandate is to try and secure the U.S. beef herd. Right, within to a degree. So you've got low numbers of cattle. You've got screwworm. You've got the factor that we had some quite serious droughts in a lot of parts of the country leading up to this, because it takes, unlike hogs and chickens, it takes time to rebuild the beef herd. Beef are unique in that aspect. It just takes longer to get a cow from a calf all the way through a yearling. Then they've got to become pregnant, and then they've got to deliver their calf, and then their calf has to be 16, 20 months old, depending, before it's even slaughter ready. So
interesting.
There's these,
because a pig is 6 months, 5 to 6 months, right?
Yeah,
and then a chicken,
shorter. Yeah. So you can see how lower numbers you can bounce back a lot faster, and people aren't scared near as easy by, oh well, our chicken numbers are low. Okay, well, wait a couple months,
Yeah, and
that could work itself out. But between drought causing people to sell down, screwworm,
is it just because of the drought? It was becoming too expensive to keep their cows alive to feed them?
Feed and the availability of feed. Round bales went from, $40-$50 a piece to almost $200, depending on your market. And,
crazy.
And it obviously local markets, your mileage is going to vary on that. But it just, hay got expensive. There wasn't any hay, and guys liquidated because it was costing them money, every day to keep a cow. And It was losing weight and condition, so
Yeah.
they liquidated. And
Interesting.
so
then what does when they're liquidating, they killed all those cows. I don't remember seeing a drastic beef decrease in price. You know what I mean? I would think that when they are getting rid of all their cows, there would have been a lot more supply, and so the price would have gone down.
you would think to a degree, but that that feeds into the other side of the story, which is that in 1980, 36% of beef packing was controlled by the Big Four, as they call them now.
Who are the Big Four? I just know JBS.
JBS, Tyson.
Okay, yeah. Does Tyson do beef?
Yeah.
Okay.
National Beef. I don't know. There's a bunch of different names. It's sub companies of the same corporation. But in 2026, 85% of the beef supply is controlled by the Big Four.
Wow.
So the Big Four get to throw their weight around, which there's currently litigation going on between all kinds of class action lawsuits trying to make that case.
That's so crazy. Yeah, I did see one where JBS settled for like $1.1 million, and it basically was like they were making claims that weren't false, but they just had nothing to do with anything, and so they were using it as like a marketing tactic. And then there is it's still, the sentence hasn't been said by the judge, but it was a proposed $87 million because they arbitrarily raised beef prices. I didn't understand that, because if the U.S. government is basically saying, hey, you're not allowed to raise beef prices just because, like that's a slippery slope. But what makes something an antitrust is if you use your size to intimidate and or make it unfair on the playing field, the economic playing field for other companies. So maybe that's what they were doing, and then raising the prices.
That was part of the suit too, is when you control 85% of the flow of something, you have the power to say, hey, rancher, you have 1,000 cows that are now ready for processing. We can talk to our friends and decide how much we want to pay.
Yeah.
Cattle for a long, long time had the ability, guys could take them to all these different routes, and there's still sale barns and sales and things like that, but there was a lot more money in the game, or people bidding, I should say. There was a lot more bidders, which caused competition, which led to, okay, here's some good cows. Here's 1,000 good cows. I want them at my plant. I'll pay, and you could kind of jockey a little bit and maybe as a producer get a better price. But now with 85% of it being controlled by these four, these guys probably all know each other, or are in cahoots, allegedly.
Allegedly.
Yeah, big asterisk there. But
what? So here's a question for you though. If you took out the Big Four and spread it out between regional at biggest, but a lot of ma and pa shops, would the price go up or down for the end consumer on beef?
That is a good question. I think that it would go up at first, just because we don't have the infrastructure.
Yeah.
Beef processing, which is another part of this, the plant closing down in Nebraska. Big story, 3,200 American jobs. It's part of a larger story, which is that as these plants close, who's going to fill that gap? These ranchers that live around there that, were used to taking their product to this plant, and all the people who were relying on a job there. You can't just replace a facility that's slaughtering, 500, 1,000 beef a day, in the snap of a finger, especially even with mom and pop. You'd have to have, I don't know, even if a mom and pop does 5 a day, that's still 100 mom and pops.
And we saw that in COVID.
Yeah.
I mean, mom and pa's, you worked, right?
Yeah, I was working at a family-owned locker at the time. Yeah, during COVID.
Were you just working obscene hours? That point?
It was nuts. There was the interest. It was like a wave. It was like a tsunami, really, is what I should say. Overnight, everybody was going, meat's expensive at the grocery store. I'll just go to a locker. And I think we went from having like a 2-month waiting list to like a year and a half, like overnight. It was just like insane, the amount of demand there was, and we stepped up and did the best we could, but you can't do everything.
Yeah.
You know? That kind of build out where you build up for processing, 10 times the amount of animals. It takes time, labor, and a lot of investment. So
that's crazy. I can't imagine having to try and deal with that in the mom and pa butcher shops. And now I do think it's becoming more popular for people to buy a quarter or half cow for their family for the year. And
it is.
And that is good for local mom and pa. The frozen, my wife and I someone had basically given us, it was a weird situation, but they had given us several bags of Tyson chicken.
Yeah.
And it was just like, it just tasted like bread. Like it was wild how terrible it tasted compared to what we're used to and when we're used to getting our chickens. And so I don't know. I'm really curious. Like Fairway in Iowa, they do their best to source. I believe tier 1, I might be getting this wrong, but I believe they have tiers, and tier 1 is within 100 miles, and they'll do whatever they can to make sure everything's in tier 1.
Yeah.
And then tier 2 is 300 miles, right? So you're not getting something out of California that's, and so, but they, I respect that. I think that it doesn't quite close the gap of the packing plants kind of having a lot of power on that. Yeah. But I think so. So here's a question for you then. Brazil.
Yeah.
What does Brazil have to, because didn't we buy a bunch of beef or something from them, or Argentina? Was it Argentina?
Argentina was the buyer, and then we do buy quite a bit of Brazilian beef, but I don't think that Brazil or Argentina, I don't think anybody's going to cover that gap. It's like saying even if, let's say, the screwworm wasn't an issue in Mexico, and Mexico could send cattle across the border, everybody thinks, okay, well, all of a sudden there's all these cows. Now the price will drop surely, right? We've gone from 10 cows in the slaughter plant to 100. But even if that was the case, they have to be fed out. Most of those cattle are actually grazed on rangeland and then fed out in Texas.
Yeah.
So we're talking, they might be on a feedlot for another 90 days. And even then, it looks to me that things are going to be tight and pretty well staying there, unless everybody at the same time decides to start buying chicken instead or something like that. Odds are the beef numbers and stuff is going to stay tight.
Interesting. When you say stay tight, what's your guess? I know it's just a guess, but 5 years, 3 years, maybe?
I don't know if it'll be that long. The good thing is that there's a little bit of data to pull on, which is heifer retention is what they call it. When you have a heifer calf, you can either feed it and process it for slaughter, or you can keep it, retain it, thus heifer retention, and then that's going to be part of your cow herd, which will determine a larger amount of cows in the future. So people keep a close eye on heifer retention until heifer retention's above, they say it in the Iowa Farmer Today article, I believe it was 35%. Until heifer retention goes above 35%, you really can't figure we're actually building the beef herd up.
Oh, wow. So one out of every 3, at least, cattle need to be a heifer.
Well, and on top of that, the retention is going to cause it to be tighter still, because those heifers aren't going to make it into the food chain. So
that's true. So there will be a squeeze here in the next year or two.
I think there might be a squeeze, maybe a price spike. I don't know.
A little $10 ground beef.
You can guess until the cows come home.
That's bad.
Pardon that bad joke. You can guess it as long as you want, but I would guess that things are probably going to stay pretty high for the foreseeable. Yeah,
interesting.
I would say.
So I mean, I know that you get bison whenever you want, but beef. Where do you get your beef?
I try and go with Fairway or a local farmer.
Yeah,
one of the two.
Yeah. Same. My wife and I, we've never lived in the same location to have a second freezer. This is our first time ever, and so we're talking. We're like, maybe we should get a second freezer and get a quarter of a cow. You know what I mean? And we go through. We eat way more beef than we do pork. I'm trying to think. I think I like beef more, but my wife likes chicken more, so it ends up being about 40-40 on each of them, maybe 20% pork. And basically the only pork we eat at home is bacon. And but the beef, it's becoming more and more enticing to like get it locally. Even if, it's the same price and you're getting a quarter or whatever, but it's still like ideal, to avoid that. And I think that voting with your dollar against monopolized food entities is, I think about this a lot, right? Yeah. Efficiency can be really good. And if there was only if there were only two phone companies, assuming they're not colluding, the price would be as low as it possibly could be. So it gets more and more efficient, and they're able to do that. Well, but with food, it seems to be, I'm not an expert, but I've interviewed a bunch of the experts. It seems to be that the more efficient we get, the less healthy we get. And I'm curious if we can figure out how to become more efficient without cutting the health corners.
Yeah. I think it's a quandary that regenerative agriculture is kind of wrestling with right now. This discussion of efficiency, because in a lot of things, efficiency is fantastic. However, efficiency for what? Are we talking efficiency for empty calories? Are we talking efficiency for pollinators who, deserve to have a place to live too?
Yeah, good point.
There's food, and the landscapes we live in are unfortunately deep to a point where efficiency for the sake of efficiency isn't always the best answer. So,
well, for Riska sounding like the tyrant at the beginning of Mad Max, where he is it Mad Max Fury Road, and he says, "Don't get addicted to the water. Like, don't get addicted to it." I actually think that there is a double-digit percentage of food, real food, that is eaten due to addiction. And I've been thinking a lot about this. If I can't go a day without food, because biologically we should be fine going a day without food. If we can't go a day, it's not a biological issue. It's an addiction issue, which is a biological issue. But it's like, it's not a health issue. Yeah. It's an addiction issue. And I've been thinking a lot about that because when I went without sugar, I ate a lot less, a lot less. And my wife and I got really sick last week, or a week and a half ago. And we didn't eat very much. And we didn't go through that much food, and our body was still able to fight it off. We just need way less food than I think we do, especially because I got a lot of food stored on me, as is.
You got a mobile freezer there hanging out. Yeah.
And so I think a lot. I bet if we learn, I had a friend who would fast every month. He would fast for 3 days, the first 3 days of the month, and then he also would fast every Monday. We could, grown humans that are done growing, could do that so easily, but we'd have to break the addiction. And I'm curious what that would do with food for us, like what it would do to food prices. How much food do we actually need to grow? Because think about, if we made food 15% more efficient, that would revolutionize food in this country. But I'm here to tell you guys, we could just eat 15% less food.
Well, there's this idea that we have a relationship with food, and we've shown, the research has shown, time has shown, reducing the price doesn't help us be healthier.
Wow.
All you got to do is look back to the Big Mac, the dollar menu. Yeah. Right. Making a Big Mac $1 didn't make anybody healthier.
That's true.
Bought 3 of them instead of 1 of them.
Yeah, but if food is 150% your income, then you'd be very unhealthy because you wouldn't be getting enough food and be able to,
for sure.
But so there's
to
some
a degree.
line.
Yeah.
My brain with zero data on this, my guess is closer to 20%. We're paying somewhere between, I think it's higher in, I've said this before, it was 11%. I think it's higher than that now. It's more like 14 or 16% of our income goes to food. I think that if it was closer to 20%, just as a country as a whole, we would respect food more. and it would lead to healthier decisions. But who knows?
Well, it just depends on what we make our relationship with food.
Yeah.
Everybody's got a relationship with food.
I know you talk to food, Riley.
I'm
you're
not going to admit to it on the pod. not on air. I'm not going to admit to it. But I'm here to tell you. If your relationship with food is looking at like a whole bucket of cookies and cream ice cream, yeah, I know what I feel like after I eat that stuff. It's not good. It's not good.
Man. That's real.
I don't know. The good thing is though, like with fasting and stuff, people think fasting's so daunting. Like, oh, I gotta fast. I gotta not eat all day. You don't have to do like a full day fast. You could just be intentional about, I'm going to eat at 4:00 at night. I'm going to eat at 4 p.m. I'm going to eat, my meal then, and I'm not going to eat until 9 a.m. the next morning.
That's tough. Not eating in the evening. That's tough.
You just, you did a fast. It wasn't a full 24, but, if you're asleep for most of it, that helps, cut out the
pain.
The pain of it.
Yeah. I find with fasting that it's like 6:30 till when I go to bed that it's the hardest. Like if you wanted me to do a day fast, I wouldn't even think about it until 3:30 or 4 o'clock.
Well, it's the TV. It's that television.
Or you think
sit down on the couch and
I find myself getting real grumpy. Here's what I think it is. One, I think it's physiological addiction. And two, I mean, obviously like we use our food to cover up feelings. It's like one of the most common reasons to eat food. And so why feel uncomfortable when I could cope with Chips Ahoy's, with a full sleeve of Chips Ahoy's? So
read a book instead. Read a book, do a puzzle. I don't know.
Do a puzzle.
Do some jumping jacks, something. I don't know.
I'm here for it. Hey, everyone. Thank you so much for listening. Don't forget, if you're needing some native seed, whether it's for native pasture mixes for your cattle that you're planning on getting so you can have cheaper beef, or just a pollinator plot, or you have some land that you're wanting to get some deer on, some pheasants, some CRP. We've got all of that stuff. We've got it right on our website, or you can reach out to us for custom mixes. We do those all the time as well. Thank you for joining. Make sure to message in and let people know how much better the podcast was this week. Now that Ken was
gone. We did miss some Mad Max references. That was about the only thing we missed. But
Mad
Max and toe fungus. That was it.
Man, that dude loves the Mad Max movies.
He's going to be so upset that we talked about it without him.
Yeah, and
he's going to spend 10 minutes of the next episode talking about Mad Max before we even get started.
You know what would be funny is if we got a bunch of people to write in to say, like if we could get it to them in a way that Kent can't hear it, where we say, hey, write in, who are we most like on Mad Max? Like, who do you guys think we're like? And then we get like the most macho, incredible characters, the most thought out characters. And he gets like thug number 4. Like everybody picks the same.
Extra number 5. Yeah. The one that accidentally gets like crushed between something. I don't know.
Yeah. That guy looks just like Kent. I don't. All right. Thanks for listening, everyone. Hey, don't forget, if you are willing to share one of these episodes and or leave a review, that goes a long ways with the podcast. We don't actually make any more money from it, but it does help get conservation out there, helps people be a little more connected to their food and the land, and that's what we're here for. We'll talk to you again next time.